Of you guys to provide me with video ideas, and the best video idea that I think I got was how do we execute the most efficiently? Because a lot of people in crypto are going to get front run. You put out a limit order and then, All right, traders, let's get into execution. So the first thing I'm going to say is this guide is going to be based on centralized exchanges like Binance, FTX. Also, this is going to be all manual trading tips. If you want to trade using automated programs or using bots, there are plenty of platforms to do that, like 3 Commas, Wonderbit. I'm probably missing like a lot. Ichibot. There's so many more too, but those are just, some of the more popular. All right, so what are the goals of every trade when it comes to execution? I'm going to run down these really, really quickly. If we're getting into a long-term asset position, like let's say, you are looking at buying BTC and it was like 2015. Buying it at like, I don't know what it was in 2015, but buying it at like $45 versus like $45.2 way back then probably wouldn't have mattered. I mean, you might say, hey, now it would have mattered a lot more. But in reality, way back then, if you're planning to hold something for a decade or for many, many, many years, your timing, your entry and exit methods aren't as important because that position becomes more of just something you're holding. And therefore, those slight differences in price that traders worry about, you don't really have to worry about. Short-term spot positions are pretty different. Let's say that you're looking at a coin. Let's say it's SNX. And on SNX, you're looking at Binance, you're looking at the FTX rate, and you're planning to hold this for about 24 hours and see if it goes up, see if it goes down, and then decide in 24 hours. Your entry exit method is pretty important. How you enter and how you exit, meaning like, are you using laddering buys, laddering sells, where you put like many limit orders and wait for them to fill? Are you using a market order? All these things are really important now, whereas with the long term, it wasn't as important. Also, your market timing is really important because one day later, if you buy it here during an uptrend and it tops out, one day later, it could just retrace and go back down and now you're not in profit. But if we take that example of a long-term spot position, if you buy it at like a market top in 2015, it wouldn't really have mattered because you're so far in profit now that it's just like, okay, I mean, do you really care about the market top you bought in 2015 if you're holding it now? Spot arbitrage. But yeah, so to recap on a short-term spot position execution, it's more important to look at entry exit, when we talk about it a bit later, and your timing. So spot arbitrage, this is where it becomes more important now. With arbitrage, it's so important to pay attention to the entry method you use, to the exit method you use, and your timing is everything in arbitrage. Arbitrage, all it is just timing, in timing two rates correctly, and then managing, the time it takes to exit those positions after you enter into an arbitrage trade through triangular arbitrage, through exchange to exchange arbitrage, and the timing it takes to transfer that. So what I mean by entry exit method with spot arbitrage, it is like you could locate an arbitrage opportunity of 0.5%. But if there's a large bid-ask spread on those two assets and you just use market orders on both, you could actually end up losing in that trade. Even though there was a 0.5%, let's say arbitrage possibility, what you could have done instead is use smart limit order placement. And if those limit orders get filled, you then have arbitrage immediately. It's things like that might not seem important to the everyday trader, but you really have to focus on those if you want to be good at arbitrage and want to make any profit with arbitrage. Now, the by far blows all the rest out of the water, most important with all the things we're going to talk about today is options and futures and perpetual markets. Your entry exit is really important. When you're using a highly leveraged trade, using a market order versus a limit order is pretty important. And then the timing is really everything, because when you're using leveraged positions, you really, really need to be correct. In a spot position, the consequences of buying a top aren't as high as the consequences of 50x on your capital buying a top, because you can lose all of that. You can lose all of that collateral that you put in the position in seconds. In spot, that will not happen. In spot, your position is your position. Nothing will change. Just the USD value or the BTC value of that position will change. But the amount, it's not going to, unless it's ample forth. But that's a whole other story. Yeah, so now let's get into fair value. So I don't think that many retail traders really think about the prices that they pay. The prices they buy at, the prices they sell, they don't tend to think about it that way. I think that too many traders get caught up in the analysis part, where they're thinking about technical analysis, sentiment analysis, all types of analysis, and they just don't know how to execute. They don't know how to enter a position. They don't know how to exit. They're annoyed at getting front run and so forth. So I want to provide the rest of this 10 minutes to helping those guys out, helping you out, whoever's watching this, in determining fair value. First thing you should do is go check CoinMarketCap, go check CoinGecko, go look at all of the different prices that a spot asset might have. So if it's, for example, like what we talked about before, SNX, what I would do is I would compile all the exchanges that I can potentially trade that on, that I have accounts with. So let's say like Binance, FTX, Bittrex, you name it. I think Coinbase has SNX. All different exchanges. Then I want to look at all the different pricing of those exchanges of the SNX USD pair. And then I'm going to look at which one gives me the best rate to enter. And if you want to go a level deeper, you can. If you want to look at also BTC pairs, you could look up, SNX to BTC, SNX to Ethereum, SNX to USD. What gives me the very best, the very cheapest rate? Do that research, and yeah, you're going to be saving money. But also that diligence, I think, will be rewarded if you're that diligent about entering into a position, whether it's like a futures position. Okay, my shirt's really uneven. It's okay, there we go. More even now. Whether it's a futures position or a spot position. Another thing you can do that I'm going to show you guys right now is you can check TRDR and some other sites like CoinKnight to see the exact spread of all different exchanges and how they're pricing the asset. So LTC, BTC, I'm actually going to do a live trade on it pretty soon. And I'm going to kind of just show you guys everything that I'm talking about so that it makes sense in more of a visual form. And so you guys see me do a live trade, of course. It'll be a small one, but it'll be fun. So right now there's a 0.42% spread of major exchanges on LTC, BTC. The cheapest, I believe that's Bittrex. Most expensive, is that Exmo? I don't really know. Wish I knew what exchange that was. I think I could probably find it out. I'm really curious now. Oh, they don't label it. Yeah, I don't know what that logo is, but you can see the different prices across multiple exchanges there, or you could use something like CoinKnight for for arbitrage, of course. So the third one is a little bit more complicated, so I'm gonna need a little bit more of your attention. So put down the Xbox controller, I guess, because this one is something that I think that I would say only about 1% to 2% of traders understand this next point. Maybe a little bit higher, but let me show what I'm talking about. Look at this just super simple example. We have an asset and it's trading with an offer, an ask at 1.5 and a bid at 1.4. Most traders are going to look at this and say, okay, so I can either buy it at 1.5 or I can sell it at 1.4. Not true. Nope. There's a lot more going on here than what meets the eye. Look at the recent trades. Imagine that all three of these recent trades just took place over the last 3 seconds. What do these mean? What this means is in the order of how they happened. So the buy 1.41 happened first. What that means is that someone placed a limit sell order at 1.41 and then an arbitrage bot or a market maker bot immediately picked off 1.41 and bought it. Okay? Which already means that if we try to put a sell order at 1.41, that same arbitrage bot, if things haven't changed in the last 1 second, will probably buy our order. Why would a bot do this? Well, a bot's going to do this because our order of selling at 1.41 is actually selling below the fair value rate. Because imagine that the fair value rate of this asset is 1.45. Okay? A market maker bot and other competing bots, what a lot of traders don't know is they're constantly scanning for picking off retail order flow that's mispriced. because you can make a lot of money if you have like a bot with many different things that it's doing. It's monitoring everything to try to get above fair market value. And if you can be faster than other bots, you will make a killing picking off retail order flow. So let's look at more examples here. Sell 1.44, what happened? So if someone put a buy limit order and it immediately got sold on, and that's why it says sell 1.44. Okay? So someone put a bid at 1.44 and it was immediately sold. Someone also then put a bid at 1.45 and it was immediately sold. How do we play this market? Well, we know for a fact from gathering this information, if nothing else changed, we know that there is definitely a market maker arbitrage bot here. It's obvious as day. Now, to take advantage of this, let's say that we want to buy. We are absolutely not going to try to buy at 1.5. That would be pretty idiotic, I think. Even if this is the only exchange that this asset trades on, it's not a good idea because we're paying such a high price. And this spread of 1.4 to 1.5, that's a spread that is, I think, like 8%, 7% spread. That's insane. What I would do is I would kind of creep up the order book. I'm going to first put a bid at 1.43. I'm going to then see, hey, how do people respond? Are people front running me at putting bids at 1.44? If they're not front running me, I might wait a little bit. If that doesn't fill, I might try to put a bid at 1.44 because I saw that the arbitrage bots sold down to 1.44. If my bid at 1.44 doesn't get filled, I then place it at 1.45 and it will probably get filled there because the arbitrage bot that's creeping on the exchange is selling all order flow that's slightly mispriced. So I'm going to put mine at about 1.45. And now from just doing this extra due diligence and also from knowing something that a lot of traders don't know, I bought at 1.45 and I didn't buy at 1.5. That is order flow. That is really the hidden part of exchanges where there are bots creeping everywhere, waiting to pick off your order if you put it at a slightly bad price. You just need to know really what that price is, and that's what this video is on. Okay? So I hope that made sense. All right, on to the next one. You also need to compare fees across exchanges and their funding rates. You know, if you're looking to go long on a perpetual pair, you're going to want to look at the historical funding to see, you know, because you probably want to buy a perpetual pair that has the most negative funding so that you, A, get a cheaper rate, and B, get paid funding, of course. And then also compare fees. If an exchange has a really low price asset, but the fee is like 0.5% to buy, like Coinbase Pro, then, you know, maybe you don't want to use that exchange. But I am going to be doing that today, unfortunately. I will be using Coinbase Pro very soon. Finally, if you post a limit order that gives you a rate that is superior to fair value, you're likely going to get front run up to the point of fair value. Exactly coming back to my point here. Let's say that the fair value rate at which an arbitrage bot would sell to you at is they will sell to you no lower than 1.45. If I put a bid at, let's say, you know, 1.43, then another arbitrage bot might try to outbid me at 1.44 because the fair market value is 1.45. And if they put a bid slightly under fair market value and front run me, they basically get any retail market order flow where anyone who sells, it's going to hit their bid and they get a slightly better rate than fair value, which gives them an arbitrage profit. Okay, optimal execution. How do we do it? And then we're going to do the live trade. So different kinds of order strategies. Market order, you only want to do this if the bid or the offer gives you a superior rate. I wouldn't even say I use market orders often. I use limit order IOC the most, which I'm going to talk about soon. But a market order, yeah, it's quick, it's fast, you're guaranteed to enter. But if you locate, let's say, the offer, the ask that you're trying to buy at is really low, then just buy it immediately, of course, if it's mispriced. Because if you don't buy it, someone else is probably going to take advantage of it to buy it. Stop market order is typically also known as a stop loss. I don't really use it that often besides for risk management and protecting my capital. Some people use it for aggressive entry at breakouts, but, you know, I think there are better things to do. Limit order IOC, I love this kind of type of order. Not enough people know about it. So limit order immediate or cancel is just a market order with a price limit. So it's not passive. Limit orders are passive. You have to wait for someone to hit your limit order for you to fill your order. A limit order IOC basically is a market order up to any point. So let's say that there is a bid at 100, an offer at 101, another offer at 102, and then after that, it gets pretty illiquid, okay? You want a market order up to 102, but you don't want to market order the whole thing and like pay crazy rates at like 107 or something. You put a limit order IOC, you type in 102, you click OK. Your order will market order only up to the price of 102. It will only buy up to the price of 102. It immediately cancels after that. That's an IOC. Limit order laddered is another pretty good way to enter. So it's a way that you can enter exit without being front run. Basically, instead of me putting a $100,000 buy order on an asset, that will very likely get front run. Very, very, very likely get front run very quickly, unless the limit order I put it at is at bad value. If it's at bad value, then it will get hit immediately. But imagine instead of $100,000 just slice down a bid on an illiquid market, I break it into $52,000 orders. Now what I'm doing here is probably using Ishibot. I'm able to bracket off my liquidity into different areas so that I don't get front run. That way, some of those limit orders that I'm putting it at are around fair value, and then the rest of them are probably going to be a little bit lower. Again, fair value at that time, because fair value is going to change constantly. But I'm talking about fair value at that time. Fair value being the arbitrage rate from other exchanges and the triangular arbitrage rate, of course. Yeah, that's probably one of the best ways, if not the best way to enter. At least do multiple limit orders, because if you're trying to enter something and you just plop down a large limit order, you will get front run on a major exchange every time. And if you're not getting front run, you're buying or selling at a bad rate. And that's a near fact, because these markets are highly competitive. So a single limit order. All right, number 5. Only use this if your order is at fair value or better. So if you think that the market you're trading is, or if you don't think the market you're trading is competitive, here's an example. Let's say you look at this one and the rate's not changing that much, and you're thinking, this market's not that competitive. I see that people are selling at 1.44. I'm going to put a bid at 1.42 and just kind of wait a little bit, watch the rate on different exchanges, just put a bid there, and let's say that no one front runs you. This is great. The fair market value is 1.45. You're bidding at 1.42. You're kind of acting like a market maker arbitrage bot at this point. No one's front running you, so any sell order that hits you is immediately giving you an arbitrage profit, because now you just bought at 1.42 instead of 1.45, which is a profit of like 1.5%, 2%. I think that's like a profit of like 2% immediately. So why not? Besides that, I mean, limit orders aren't really the best thing to do, although I'm about to probably use one on LTC BTC. The final thoughts. All right, let's get to LTC BTC. Here we go. So what you're looking at is, I want to sell this Litecoin right now for this example. We see a current bid at 47.15, a current offer / ask at 47.21. This is going to keep changing. By the time I say it, it will have already changed. So let's look at the market order flow, and let's also look at what is Coinbase Pro. Is this at fair value or is this not fair value? So it looks like Coinbase Pro is what, at the middle of the pack? Lower? Yeah, Coinbase Pro I think is this one. And Coinbase Pro is like just slightly more expensive than other exchanges, but it's not like too much more expensive. It looks like it's on the lower end. So if anything, that makes me want to buy it more. Yeah, for sure. Actually, yeah. But actually, we're selling, so I want, pardon me, we're selling, so I want the Coinbase Pro rate to be one of the higher ones. Sorry, I thought we were buying. No, we're selling LTC for BTC, so we want it to be up here. So it looks like, unfortunately, it's one of the lower rates across multiple exchanges. Now let's go look at the fun part, which is market order flow. So look at any market orders right now. I'll bet you if I try to put in a bid at 47.17, is that a fair rate? If I put 47.17, the rate on, this is the rate on Binance, it's 47.17 right here. So if I put a bid at 47.17, that's fair value. And I think I will either get front run or filled. Well, no, the price already changed. I could try to sell at 4718. I was doing an IOC. I'll just do a GTC, a good till canceled. I'm going to start with a 472. 4715. Okay, let me go look at this one more time. So it looks like Binance, it's about 471 is the, oops, sorry. All right. Yeah, so 471, I think I could put an offer / ask at 173. 173 is probably pretty fair. So I put one at 173, and you can see immediately, look at all this front running right here, all of these other large limit sellers. And I know I'm probably not going to get the best rate for selling my LTC, but I want to show this as a demonstration for really what can happen when you use just a single limit order. But let's say instead, I'm actually going to do something a little bit smarter. Instead of just doing all the LTC, let's do 0.8 at 0.004, or can I just click it? Yeah, 0.8 at 4713, and then the rest of it at let's say 471. So this is bracketing off my liquidity a little bit, which is what you're supposed to be doing. You don't want to sell everything at one price typically. So let's go look at the current rate. So the current rate on Binance is about 4704. It looks like Coinbase Pro is unfortunately still on the lower end right now. So right now I have, I'm above fair value. So if I get bought at that sell rate, then obviously I am the winner in that transaction because I'm selling at a better rate than currently offered by the general market. But I don't think that someone's going to just buy this all up and be kind of idiotic like that. So it looks like people are selling at 4703. Is anyone buying? Because what I want to, 4707. So it looks like people are willing to buy at 4707. So putting a seller at 4707 would probably get filled in that short period of time. But I will also say that not every market order is efficient. The only market orders that I was talking about before, guys, in this example is not market orders on a bid or an offer. These are market orders that transact between the bid and the offer. Okay? Big difference there. They transact immediately when someone puts a bid or an offer in between the best bid and the best offer. When you place a bid or offer in there, it will get filled immediately sometimes, and that's because of arbitrage and bots that are taking advantage of you trading at a bad rate. That's what I'm talking about. But these are just standard market orders that could be made by anyone, in all honesty. All right, so it's Coinbase Pro. Current rate 4705. And it looks like here we have a decent amount of selling, so it looks like a bit of a supply run. 4707. So my rates are still above fair market value, which is great. Okay, so my 471, let's see if it gets filled. Come on, fill me. Oh, I just got filled at 471. So I just got filled at 471, which was a decently good rate, I guess. 4713. Let's see if my other one gets filled. At 4713. Yeah, I would say that I got filled at a pretty good rate. I got filled at 471, and then the price went right back down. Yeah, I got filled at a very good rate. Basically, I was just tracking what was a fair rate. I got slightly above fair market value, and then I was able to sell, and then the rest of my liquidity will fill soon. All right, guys, that's going to be it for this video. I hope that this helped you guys with decision making in using market orders, using limit orders, and also teaching you guys a little bit about the hidden dynamics of major exchanges, where the arbitrage bots creep around and wait for you to place a bad order. And if you place a good order, they will front run you. Now that you know this, try to take advantage of it the best that you can. And as always, happy trading.